Good morning. Good morning, Activate Her with Sally Goodwin family. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the best kind of light here because I don't have all my things here, and I am going live from Glasgow, Scotland, and it is 6 o'clock in the morning here. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. So 7 o'clock your time, I'm assuming, 6 o'clock my time in here in Glasgow. And so it's pitch dark, and I'm sitting in the dining room of our wonderful hosts, but the lighting, obviously they just have like an overhead light, so it's not like the best possible lighting, but it doesn't matter because here I am. Good morning, anointed Anthea. So lovely to see you, my darling. So yes, here I am, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, I missed you on Friday. Sorry, I'm just trying to get us all sorted out. I missed you on Friday. Good morning, wonderful Natasha. Good morning, courageous Claudia. Good morning, significant San Marie. Welcome, amazing Anthea from J Bay. So this is my coffee mug this morning. Claudia, I thought of you because it's Japan. So I was like, right, I am born and bred South African, sitting in Glasgow, Scotland, drinking a mug that says Japan, calling in the nations. Just calling in the nations. That was what I was thinking about as I kind of was, just getting ready for this morning. So good morning, everybody. So welcome to Activate Her with me, Sally Goodwin. And then welcome also Joyful Jen, my darling. Welcome. Welcome also to this week's episode of Start Your Week with Sally, and to the Church Without Walls. Hello, terrific Tamsin. So this is the Church Without Walls, or as we have coined it, CWOW. Church Without Walls. Do you get that? CWOW. So Anointed Anthea came up with that expression because she was like, we need to just, make it a bit of a shorter sort of thing to say. So she came up with CWOW. So we now have CWOW in the house, a Church Without Walls, or CWOW. We are in the house. Good morning, special Sonia. So good to see you. So welcome everyone. It's just so good to see you here. It's so good to have you on the live. It's so good to be here with all of you. Amazing, Everin. Welcome, my darling. Just incredible. It's such a privilege because I feel as though we left years ago. I really do. Oh, thank you, my lovely. Thank you. I feel like we left years ago. It really, literally feels like we've been gone for ages. And it's not. I keep saying to Flynn, like something about how long ago, and he's like, Sally, we only left on Wednesday. We only actually got here on Friday, because we overnighted in Dubai, which was unexpected, but definitely from the Lord. I did get time to rest and journal, and I started writing my next book, and so all of that I started doing in Dubai because there was nothing else to do, and we were too tired to go into actual Dubai, and I think God actually was like, can you just rest? And it was honestly, I posted on Facebook, Jesus's plan. Jesus's plan is always the best plan because it has been full on since we got here. Friday evening until late, all day yesterday, all day Saturday, most of the day yesterday, and then we have all day today at the Senior Leaders Retreat, all day tomorrow at the Senior Leaders Retreat, and literally it's so all day that they actually feed us dinner, so that's how all day it is. And then we have all day on Wednesday with the Lion Roars International Prophets, and all day on Thursday with the Lion Roars International Prophets. So it is full on, people, can I just say to you. So God knew that I needed that little bit of time in between to just rest in Dubai and prepare myself, Gorgeous Sunette, welcome, my lovely. But can I just say that we are staying with the most amazing people. So their names are Nate and Meg Turner. For those of you who have followed GPA for a while or do follow GPA, they were on staff with GPA for a while. Lovely Lindy, my gorgeous, welcome. And so we are staying with them while we are here, and they're just the most amazing hosts, and they have a ministry called Turner Missions. So honestly, they're incredible. They mandate their assignment, what they feel called to. They are Americans. Amazing. Alida, welcome. They are Americans, but they have been Sharon, hello from the other side. Isn't that a song? Hello from the other side. Is it Adele? Hey? I'm sure it's a song from Adele. Hello from the other side, my darling. So they're amazing people, and their assignment or mandate from the Lord is that God called them out of America, and He called them to the UK. They lived in Britain for a while, and now they live here in Glasgow, Scotland, and they are amazing. They have their ministry is called Turner Missions, and they basically aid and equip and empower people in the prophetic, in healing, incredible healing ministry. So Flynn just feels right at home. They're really good morning, courageous Conrad. Lovely to see you. So they're amazing. If you want to go and look up Turner Missions on Facebook, Nate and Meg Turner, and they're incredible. Follow them, see what they're doing. It's so good to see what different people are doing around the world. They just recently have come back from Albania, ministering in Albania. They have 3 gorgeous children. Can I just tell you something, ladies and gentlemen? Can I bring you in closer, family? Last night, I was jumping on the trampoline. I was jumping on a big trampoline, people, not a small trampoline. A big trampoline with a 3-year-old and how old is Alexis? I think Alexis is probably about 8 or 9, with a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. I was jumping on the trampoline in the garden. I thought my heart was going to burst right out of my chest. I'm very unfit. I need to come back to South Africa and get fit. Please remind me. Good morning, Karen, my darling. Good to see you. So, but they are amazing, so hospitable, just so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. So please follow them, watch and, see what they are doing, how God is using them on the earth, because it's incredible. And then, good morning, terrific Tessa. Thank you. Yes, I need that. For the first 2 nights, I literally slept like a log. And last night, I hardly slept at all. Beautiful, Brigitte. Bonjour. Wonderful to have you. So really, they're just amazing. So hospitable, so loving. People here are just loving. They just love, And I've met so many South Africans here. Oh my goodness. So many. Yes, Karen. Yes, my friend. You're so right. Thank you, Isan. Isan has been after me to do CrossFit for like 1,000,000 years. But Isan, my doctor said I can only do Pilates. No, he was like, no CrossFit, no running, no nothing. Pilates is the only thing you could do. I'm not even sure whether Pilates is something we're supposed to do. But anywho, so we're going to move on. Zenobia, special Zenobia, significant summer sky, my lovely, you're on your first cruise, hey? You're on your first boat. Come on. Do you see this? We have Summer Sky, who's cruising for the first time. We have Candace, who is halfway through her cruise thingy. We have Taryn Taylor, who's out there doing her cruises. We here in Glasgow, Church Without Walls, ladies and gentlemen. The Church Without Walls is getting around. It's getting around. It's reaching out. It's reaching out into all the different spaces of the earth. So, anyway, so what was I saying? Nate and Meg Turner, awesome. Met so many South Africans. People who are from South Africa but live here now or live in Britain. People from are you in the Irish Seas? So, come on, we close. We're in Scotland and you're in the Irish Seas. God's eye is on the UK right now. Hey, it's on the UK right now. So, so many South Africans are people who live in Pilates. People who live in Britain, people who live in Scotland, you know, people who came to me. One lady who is from Takai in Cape Town, but she lives in Geneva, and a beautiful lady, Heather, who is from Joburg, but she lives, I think, here somewhere now. Just these South Africans, amazing how South Africans recognize each other. And all they said to me, because, you know, the speakers were amazing and everything was very exciting. And so there were a few South Africans who came up to me and said, we could hear you. we could hear your voice and we knew you were South African. There were one or two people, because the senior leaders people, you know, you sit in the first few rows, and so I've got this, you know, this prophetic nest that I run with other prophets from GPA who are in who are ones from Norway and ones from anyway, and they came down to find me, and they were like, we heard your voice. We could hear your voice from up there, and we knew it was you. And I was like, sure, Lord, I'm quite loud, hey? Quite loud. Yes, and the accent as well. And the accent, although I don't even have lots of people tell me I sound English, so I don't know that I even have such an enormous accent. Good morning. Happy Hanley. Welcome. Anyway, so it has been so good. The conference has been so good. I mean, right in the beginning, somewhere near the beginning anyway, basically they said that they felt God was saying that the conference, lovely Louise from New Zealand, it definitely feels like just nations here. Oh, thank you, Tamsin. Do you know, Tamsin, that I am more pale than the people who live here? I mean, my friend Caroline, who is, you know, who's I'm connected with here, she's part of GPA. She is Scottish or Irish. I need to double check that. But she has just come back from Canada, and she is as brown as a berry, and I am as white as a sheet. Like, they are more tan than me, and I'm completely lily white. So, tremendous. Tammy, no, not I won't take off unless I can't make it because of a meeting or something. But I've got to get this lighting sorted out because I'm just in shadow. So, anywho. So the conference has been amazing. They were saying in the conference that they felt like there was a call from the Lord to disrupt, you know, to yes, mine too. When I try and match my concealer to my skin, the makeup people basically say there isn't anything that's as white as that. So the conference was to disrupt, and it was disruptive in terms of just like the messages that were brought were very challenging. Like, there was nobody there who was tickling anybody's ears. Let me tell you that. Nobody there who was pandering to the masses. Absolutely no ways. So the one person that I briefly met, didn't meet to talk, he would never remember me, but I got a moment to speak to somebody called Richard Gamble. I don't know if any of you have heard of Richard Gamble, but he is building the Eternal Wall of Prayer here, well, not here in Scotland, but in Britain, the Eternal Wall of Prayer. This Google him, Google what he's doing. But basically, it is going to be this enormous infinity sign that's like, it's enormous, people, like you can't. And you will be able to use your phone and scan up onto a brick, and every brick will contain a testimony. Every brick will contain a testimony. Nolitando, so good to see you, my darling. Oh my word, Hanley, welcome, lovely. Every brick will contain a testimony. Google Richard Gamble, people, because can I tell you something astounding? He has managed to raise all the money. He had to buy land. He had to get architects. This is not some small feat that God has called him to undertake. He has been carrying this vision since 2004, 20 years, okay? He has managed to raise all the money. He doesn't have the testimonies. This infinity thingy, Hanika, my darling, welcome. Can take 1 million testimonies. When you click on it, you will be able to look for testimonies in your area. Testimony, amazing, Alette, my love. Testimonies in your area, you'll be able to look for, and you will be able to look for testimonies for whatever subject you are facing. So if you need healing because you have some type of cancer, you will be able to go to use your phone and find healings that have taken place for that specific cancer. And so he needs 1 million testimonies, and he only has 42,000. And so when Emma called us up to just bless him, and then she said, are there any other nations who also want this? And you know, us South Africans, we've been raised to not be voorop die wa. Sorry for my English speaking people. It means to not push yourself forward. South Africans are raised, it's an Afrikaans saying, don't be voorop die wa. You know, you don't push yourself forward. And I was very much raised like that. But when she said that, when she said, does any other nation want this? I was like, we do. We want something like that. Not the same, you know, it'll be South African, but we want something like that. We want somebody to undertake something like that in our nation. And so, and then so she said, well, you just bless him. So she said, I want you to say, like, bless him from South Africa so that you can receive this for South Africa. And I stepped forward and I said to him, I just bless you from South Africa. And I said, and I can promise you this, that you are going to get an influx of testimonies from South Africa. So ladies and gentlemen, you need to I'll find the website or whatever it is, and you need to start sending your testimonies in. Whatever testimonies you have of what God has done in your life, you need to start sending those testimonies in, because this man needs help, because he has all the money and none of the testimonies. In what world does that even work? So I was like, no, South Africans, we love sharing testimonies. Like, we do not hold back when it comes to testimonies. We are not shy when it comes to testimonies. So we are going to share testimonies with you. So that I'm challenging you, ladies and gentlemen, to find out where this is. Richard Gamble, Google Richard Gamble. He's very well known in Christian circles. He's very well known for this dream he has. Read his story. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then see where you can submit your testimonies. Come on, let's show the world what South Africans are made of. Let's show the world how many testimonies South Africans have. Not just South Africans, but Africans, people from the continent of Africa. We have more than 1 million testimonies just on African soil. So let's share those, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, that's my challenge to you this morning. I was going somewhere else. I can't remember where I was going, but here I am anyway. So welcome. Activate Her with me, Sally Goodwin, See Wow, Church Without Walls. And honestly, this weekend, in all seriousness, when I think of abbreviating Church Without Walls to See Wow, I'm like, wow, God. That has been my experience the whole weekend. Just wow, God. Wow, God. I mean, the worship was amazing. So listen, so one thing that I've realized is in prophetic school, Joyful Joe Allison, good morning. At prophetic school and with the events that we have, we as this tribe, this community, this cross-section of people, we have incredible freedom. We actually walk in incredible freedom. I think we have pioneered freedom to an enormous degree. But as I was in this conference, there were 1 or 2 places where I was like, oh, we need more freedom there. We need more freedom there. Like, we need more freedom, in these places. And one of the places where I feel like we need more freedom, and prophetic school, we are going to focus on this a little bit when I get back, is in worship. We need more freedom in worship. Like, really, we do. Allie McFarlane, if you have never heard of Allie McFarlane, if you have never listened to her worship music, Allie McFarlane is absolutely, astoundingly, anointedly incredible. Follow her, ALI, and then McFarlane. We sang songs this weekend that I was like, oh, we need to sing those songs in prophetic school. Oh my word, we need to sing those songs in prophetic school. And she hasn't released them yet, so she's going to be released them. But good morning, mighty Melanie. But we need freedom in worship, ladies and gentlemen. The gentleman who did the flagging, oh my soul, do you know that every time he moved that flag, the anointing just like over the room? Unbelievable. And And they're very, you see, this is my heart because you all know me and you know the sort of worship I like. And they're not big on like the more sort of soaking kind of worship. They're very big on like warfaring worship and like praise and kind of, you know, that sort of thing. And that's just up my alley, as you all know. So I was fully involved with all of that. And then, you know, where we're staying with Nate and Meg Turner, where we stay. Oh yes, Joyful Allison, you will not regret that. You will not regret that. She is magnificent, honestly. So where we're staying with Nate and Meg Turner, we are staying, now pay attention to this, people. We are staying on the grounds. So we are staying in a suburb, I think, of Glasgow called Blantyre, and it's all built like around as a memorial to David Livingstone. Where are my Malawian friends? I know that colonialism isn't something that we want to really be proud of, but David Livingstone was more about bringing the gospel than colonizing, and obviously we also don't really like to build memorials to people, but at the same time it's like a remembrance of what he did. And so when we came here, I'm getting so hot in here. The anointing, I'm getting so hot. Honestly, I have been so hot since we've gotten here. I bought a fan, like a Chinese fan, and I literally sit and because I'm like the fire, it's starting from here and it's just coming out. So we are staying on the grounds of a church, of the church that was built as a memorial to David Livingstone, with the statue outside and all of that, as a memorial to what David Livingstone did. And so as we kind of came into that space, it is just Jesus saying to me, Sally, you are a pioneer. You are a pioneer. Yes, thank you, Sonia. Zimbabwe and Zambia, I couldn't remember my history. Couldn't remember all of them off the top of my head, but you're a pioneer. You're a pioneer. You are pioneering. Pioneers never settle. Pioneers never settle. And so there's this thing of pioneers keep moving, we don't settle in terms of, but there's also this thing of pioneers don't settle for Ishmael when they can go after Isaac. Pioneers don't settle for second choice, second best, second grade, second class. Pioneers don't settle for anything less than everything that God has for them, for anything less than everything that God has called them to, for anything less than everything that God is calling them into. Pioneers don't settle. And this is what God has been saying to me. This is what he's been talking to me about. You know, trailblazers travel light. Pioneers don't settle. Beautiful. Tishka, welcome, my sweet pea. You know, and so we're in this space that is like commemorative to the pioneer who was David Livingstone. And we kind of, you know, it's like all of these things. And so, you know, when you go to a conference, like we've been at, everybody gets something different, you know, and you get what you need, you get what God has called you to. But can I tell you that on Saturday, I had this, when we went into worship the first time, I had this vision, and then like the vision ended, and then the second set of worship, as we went into the second set of worship, the vision started where it had ended the previous time and then continued from there. I've never had an experience like that before. Like, I'm just being honest, it was quite mind-blowing. I'm not going to share the vision with you this morning. I'm sorry. I know that that's very mean to do that, but I'm still processing it a little bit, and kind of just working through exactly what God is saying, because if I shared it with you, there are immediately things that you would be like, oh yes, like I see you saying that, but I just feel like there's so much more. But I am going to speak about the verse that God gave me, and can I just say this to you as well, just how amazing God is. I'm going to share the scripture that God gave me to just to kind of support the vision, which was just absolutely amazing. It was amazing. Like, I was completely overwhelmed. And yes, thank you, Alison. I can only release the vision when I feel God's permission to do so. And I just feel like God is saying to me now, Sally, if you release the vision now, you're going to release it with like just the top layer of revelation and not all the revelation that is available to you in that vision. So I am definitely praying into it, but there is a verse. So can I just tell you this? So in the first worship session, I have this vision and God gives me this verse. And then I think it was after that, or a little bit after that, Sam came up to teach and he started with this verse. And it was like, God was like, I'm just confirming in case you're going to start thinking, like, I'm just confirming that this is what I'm saying. And here is the verse. And so Sam used the same verse as part of his teaching. In fact, I think he structured his teaching around it. And then after the next worship session, I went straight back into the vision. And it was just like, I was able to sort of settle into the vision more because, I had this biblical context, I'm very much about biblical context. I'm very a fan of Revelation, but absolutely, as a prophet, one has to be a fan of Revelation, but very, very much the person who's saying to the Lord, can you give me some biblical context on this? So I'm just going to share that with you, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. Please also just a point. I only have Wi-Fi. I don't have international roaming on my phone. I only have Wi-Fi when I'm here with Nate and Meg. For some obscure reason, I cannot pick up the Wi-Fi at the Glasgow Royal Orchestra. What is it? At the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall. I cannot get on to the Wi-Fi. I have tried a gazillion billion times. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I've tried a lot. I cannot get onto the Wi-Fi. But I think it's because God is like, no, you need to focus and you can't be looking at your phone all the time. So please understand that when I get back to Nate and Meg, it's quite late. And then my phone with a million things. Obviously, I first go and just check that my boys are all still breathing. And that's my first port of call. And then, but I just I'm not getting time to respond to WhatsApp and listen to voice notes and all of that. I'm just not getting time. Please don't not message me, but please understand that I'm probably not going to be able to respond until the end of the week because we are conferencing today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. So I will only be able to have a chance to respond probably at the end of the week. So please, and then also just a reminder that if you want books or t-shirts while I'm away, ladies and gentlemen, can I just be honest? The books and the t-shirts, please will you share them because they need to sell, because I need to pay for them at the end of the month. So please will you just share that, because I'm not anxious because God has got it, but I'm here in Glasgow and my books and my t-shirts are there in South Africa. I did bring some, but I couldn't bring all, obviously. And so I'm just trusting that beautiful Bronwyn is going to sell as many books as possible. So please just share. If people are looking for books, please get them to buy. She's got books that have been signed and all of that sort of thing. So please just, if you could do that, I would be so appreciative, because those books need to sell while I'm gone, and she will send them off to you, dispatch them, do the whole thing. Okay, so this is the verse around. We're in 2 Chronicles. We're in 2 Chronicles this morning, and I wanted to just read to you from 2 Chronicles chapter 16. And it says verse 1, in the 36th year of Asa's reign, so King Asa, who wasn't a very good guy. There weren't very many good kings of Israel, in the 36th year of Asa's reign, Baasha, king of Israel. So at this point in time, Baasha was king of Israel. But because remember, Israel was divided into 2 different kingdoms. So, there was a king of Israel in the south and a king of Israel in the north, and the 10 tribes were in the one space and 2 tribes were in the other space. So it gets a bit confusing because the king of Israel basically can be 2 different people. So in the 36th year of Asa's reign, 36, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Judah. So Israel and Judah were 2 separate nations at that time, and built fortified Ramah, which was a city, intending to intercept anyone going out or coming into Asa, king of Judah. So here is Baasha, and Baasha basically is king of 10 tribes of Israel, and they constantly were competing with each other for just because it's ridiculous. Anyway, so what they do is he now does this thing where he builds the city Ramah because he wants to now intercept anyone who's coming in or going out of Judah. And so Asa is king over Judah and Benjamin, that part of Israel. So 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin, they were in one space. Asa is king over them, and then Baasha is king over the other 10 tribes, which is the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Okay. Now Asa, he wasn't all bad as a king. He wasn't all bad, not at all. He was one of those kings who started off badly, and then got better and then got worse, and he was a bit of an up and down king. Gorgeous, cool, welcome, so good to have you here. But he wasn't all bad by any means. And if you read 2 Chronicles chapter 15, you will see that he paid attention to a prophet, and he then, it says in 2 Chronicles 15 verse 8, Asa took courage and put away the abominable idols from all the land of Judah and Benjamin, and from the cities which he had taken in the hill country of Ephraim, and he repaired the altar of burnt offering of the Lord, which was in front of the porch or vestibule of the house of the Lord. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim. I'm sorry if I'm just speaking quite softly, because obviously we're in somebody else's house, and I don't want, and it's only 6:30 in the morning here. I don't want to wake anybody, but also I have the worst sore throat. But we just no, in Jesus' name. And so Asa gathers Judah and Benjamin and the strangers out of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Simeon, for they came over to Asa out of Israel in large numbers when they saw that the Lord his God was with him. So Asa started off badly, paid attention to the prophets, started to do the things that God had called him to do, which meant that other people from Israel, the other 10 tribes of Israel, started moving over to where Asa was ruling over Benjamin and Judah, because they actually found, they could see that he was moving in what God had called them. He was listening to the voice of the Lord. So they wanted to come and live where Asa was. They wanted to come and live with Judah and Benjamin, because Asa was now hearing the voice of the Lord, paying attention to the prophets, doing what needed to be done. And so this is why Baasha, who was king over the other 10 tribes, he now sets up this fortified city. He's now trying to prevent people from going in and out of Judah. He's trying to prevent people from going to be under Asa's reign, and because Asa was hearing the voice of the Lord. So, they gathered together and they brought sacrifices. This will be still in 2 Chronicles 15. And they entered into a covenant. Pay attention to this. 2 Chronicles 15 verse 12. They entered into a covenant to seek the Lord, the God of their fathers, and to yearn for him with all their heart's desire and with all their soul. And so they took an oath to the Lord with a loud voice, with shouting, with trumpets, and then all Judah rejoiced with the oath. And all of this comes down. But this is what I'm trying to get to here. 2 Chronicles chapter 15 verse 17. But the high places were not taken out of Israel. Nevertheless, the heart of Asa was blameless all his days. So after that, the heart of Asa was blameless all his days, but the high places were not taken out of Israel. I want you to understand what has happened. Asa has become king. He has inherited this kingdom of these 2 tribes from there were more righteous kings in the Israel that ruled, Judah and Benjamin, that there were in the other 10 tribes. There were definitely more righteous kings, but there was a distinct lack of righteous kings. But here comes Asa. Then he hears the prophet. It's the prophet Oded, I think, and the prophet Oded speaks to him from the voice of the Lord. And so Asa goes and he tears down some of the high places, and he puts away the idols, and he builds and also restores the altars of the Lord, and all of this kind of thing. And because of that, people will start to be drawn to Judah and Benjamin. People start to be drawn to that part of Israel, because they can see that Asa is hearing the voice of the Lord. He's hearing, listening, and paying attention to the word of the Lord. So they are drawn to that. And Asa lived a blameless life for the rest of his days. He walked with the Lord for the rest of his days. But he did not pull down all the high places. All the high places in Israel that had been erected to other gods. He did not destroy all of them. He didn't do a complete job. And that was the issue with most of even the righteous kings of Israel. They never fully managed to take down all the high places, to remove all the idols, to take all of that sort of thing away. So if you think of it in terms of the body of Christ, in terms of the church as a sort of religious man-made structure, that kind of church, if you think of it like that, it's like here the church comes and they have this revelation of Jesus, they have this revelation of the Messiah, they have this revelation of salvation, and and all of these things, and what God has, and the more of the Lord, and everything like that. And so they start paying attention to the voices of the prophets, they start paying attention to hearing the word of the Lord, and because of that, people are drawn to them, because they can see God is moving here, God is moving in this space, God is moving in that space, God is moving over here, God is moving with these people, and people are drawn to the places that God is moving. If you have been somewhere for a long time, part of a specific church, part of a specific ministry for a very long time, but then you can see that God is moving over here, in might and power, your desire, your spirit is drawn to that, because that is where God is moving. That is why people move. And that is all good. That is all amazing. That is wonderful. God is moving. Come in, come join us here where we're hearing the voice of the prophets. We're listening to the word of the Lord, and God is moving. But in how many of these places and spaces have they have not managed to remove all the high places? They have not managed to tear down all the altars to the false gods. They have not managed to remove all the idols. They have not managed to cleanse the space completely so that it is only God and God alone. So now we move into 2 Chronicles 16. So in the 36th year, here comes Baasha, king of Israel. He comes up against Judah, and he builds this fortified city, trying to prevent the Jewish people from going from the bit of Israel that he governed to the bit of Israel that Asa governed. Okay, and can we just put this all into church perspective for a moment? How is that with the church? The man-made religious structure, not the actual body of Christ. Man-made religious structure, church. How is it that here we are and we're like, wow, we can see God moving over there. We want to be a part of that. We want to move on. And what do our man-made religious structures do? They put up fortified cities, places to prevent people from moving from one space to the next, to prevent people from following the move of the Lord, because they don't want to move with what God is doing, but they don't want to lose the people who are with them already. So they want to keep their people where they are. They want to keep their people where they are, in the space. They do not want to allow their people to move where God is moving. And so they set up all kinds of things that in the spirit are fortified cities where you cannot leave. This fortified city, because we are protecting you. You are protected inside this fortified city. But can I tell you something? Your gatekeepers have become prison guards. Your gatekeepers have become prison guards. In your fortified cities, your gatekeepers have become prison guards. And you don't only have to relate that to the church. You can relate that to whatever sphere of influence you occupy. You can relate that to whatever ministry you're a part of. You can relate that to wherever you are in your life at the moment. Do not allow your gatekeepers to be prison guards, because the only true protection comes from God himself. Because that's why it says in scriptures, you run into his fortress, you run into his might, you run into his power. So here we have God moving where Judah and Benjamin are. And these people here are like, oh no, this king is like, no, I'm not losing my people to the move of the Lord. So whereas I have just been their protection up until now, where I have just been their gatekeeper up until now, I'm now going to be their prison guard. I'm now going to be their prison guard. I'm going to keep them in. So this is what Asa does. So this is Baasha's done his thing. So now we are in 2 Chronicles chapter 16 verse 2. Asa brought silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of the Lord of the king. Pay attention to this. Asa brought silver and gold out of the treasuries of the house of the Lord and of the king's house, and went sent them to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, who dwelt at Damascus, saying, this is Asa, saying to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, let there be a league between me and you, as was between my father and your father. Behold, I am sending you silver and gold. Go, break your league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may withdraw from me. So Syria had partnered with Baasha. Syria had partnered with Baasha. And so Asa goes to Syria, and he's like, hey, here's some treasure. Here, God is moving in our land. God is moving amongst us. We have these treasures that come out of the temple of the Lord. He took treasures out of the temple of the Lord, out of the house of the Lord, and out of his house, and he opens them and he gives them over to Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria. And he says, come on, will you please stop being friends with him and be friends with me? Simplifying this down to toddler level, okay? Not because I think you're toddlers, but because when you say it like that, you just realize how ridiculous it is. So he takes all the treasuries from the house of the Lord and from his own house, and he goes to Syria, and he's like, come on, be friends with me, not with them. Don't be friends with those mean people. Be friends with me and protect me from them. Protect me from them. Let us form our little gang, and I will give you some of my treasure. And we just exclude those people over there. Remember, the people didn't want to be excluded, but their gatekeeper had become their prison guard, and they did not have the freedom to leave. So Ben-Hadad is like, awesome, give me the treasure. And he sends the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. This is Baasha, and they smote Ijon, Dan, Abel-Maim, and all the store cities of Naphtali. All the store cities of Naphtali. The store cities are where their food stuff, all of that kind of thing was stored. Here comes Syria, and they say, thank you very much. You can pay me to be your friend. I'll be your friend. Yay. And then they go and they smite a whole lot of cities, and they specifically the store cities where provision was stored, where food was stored, where all of that sort of thing was stored, the store cities of Naphtali. And when Baasha heard it, he stopped building Ramah and let his work cease. And then King Asa took all Judah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah and its timber with which Baasha had been building, and with them he built Geba and Mizpah. Okay, so isn't this a good thing? Isn't this a good thing? Is this not a good thing? So here, Asa goes to Syria. He's like, come on, guys. I'll give you some money. I'll give you some treasures from the house of my God. So we assume that it is holy and godly. And if you will be my friend and not be his friend, and if you will just go and, attack him, throw things at him so that he stopping people from coming over to where we are. So Syria does that. Baasha acquiesces, he steps back, he stops building the city of Ramah. Asa comes, they take the very stones that were building the city of Ramah to keep the people of Israel away from the people of Judah and Benjamin. They take those very stones and they build 2 other cities. Sounds good, right? Sounds like God, right? Sounds like God when we are like, let us connect with these people so that we can exclude those people. And then, that those people are all falling apart. And so we can just take and build here. And because we're doing that, God is on it. Can I just direct you to 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 7. At that time, Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and said to him, because you relied on the king of Syria and not on the Lord your God. Because you relied on the king of Syria and not on the Lord your God, the army of the king of Syria has escaped you. Were not the Ethiopians and Libyans a huge host with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet because you relied on them, he gave them into your hand. Listen to this. This is the verse that related to my vision. 2 Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of those whose hearts are blameless toward him. Behold, the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in behalf of those whose hearts are blameless toward him. And he goes on to say to Asa, you have done foolishly in this. Therefore, from now on, you shall have wars. Because why? Why? Because Asa did not go to God and say, Lord God, you are doing a great work in our midst. And here we have this gatekeeper that has become a prison guard that is preventing people from joining in this move, which is your move. God, what are you going to do? How are you going to bring your people into freedom? What do we need to pray, intercede, decree, declare, prophesy to remove those prison bars and let the people go? What do we need to do? Asa didn't do that. Asa went to somebody who could be bought with the treasuries of the house of the Lord and said, hey, why don't you go sort him out? I want those people to be able to be a part of this move of God. Seemed like a valid justification, right? Except that it wasn't. It wasn't. That was never how God intended his people to be set free. That is never how God intended his people to be set free. And so the seer, the prophet, has to rise up and say to Asa, you're wrong. You are aligning yourself with the wrong people. You are partnering with the wrong people. You are going about this all the wrong way. You are shutting down one gatekeeper that has become a prison guard so that you can become a gatekeeper who is also a prison guard. And you think, because you are doing it in the name of a move of the Lord, that it's okay. You think it's okay. Do you know what Asa did? What Asa said? Verse 10, he was angry with the seer and put him in prison in the stocks, for he was enraged with him because of this. Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time. Do you see how the man who stood against oppression became the oppressor? How the man who stood against the oppression became the oppressor? Because unfortunately, you only have to look at church history to learn that the old move always persecutes the new move. The very same people who fought for freedom are the very same people who become the gatekeeper prison guards of the move, and who then persecute the new move that God does. Asa went from standing against oppression to becoming the oppressor, where he was oppressing his people himself to the degree that he took Hanani, the prophet, the seer, and put him in jail for speaking truth. He put him in jail for speaking truth. For those of you who have not yet walked through this kind of situation in the church spaces that you are in, can I tell you that this is a prophetic word of warning? It is coming. It is coming. It is coming. God is rocking the boat of the church. He is shaking the church because he is saying your foundation is only supposed to be on me, because what happened to Asa? Verse 12, 2 Chronicles 16, verse 12. In the 39th year of his reign, Asa was diseased in his feet. Asa was diseased in his feet. Your feet help you to stand. Your feet give you a firm foundation. Asa had lost his firm foundation. His disease became very severe, yet in his disease he did not seek the Lord, but relied on physicians. He did not seek the Lord, but relied on physicians. He had lost his firm foundation. And when the disease started in his feet, he didn't seek the Lord. He didn't go back and say, God, my foundation has crumbled. Somewhere along the line, Lord, I've lost it. Somewhere along the line, I don't have a safe, secure space to put my feet. He went to physicians. He went everywhere else for help except back to God. This man, who just one chapter earlier had torn down, had taken courage, had put away the abominable idols, had repaired the altars of the Lord, had gathered Judah and Benjamin, and had worshipped God in large numbers. Just one chapter previously, this king, his whole foundation had crumbled, and he still did not seek the Lord. He still did not seek the Lord. And you just have to think. You just have to think. He didn't realize he threw the prophet in prison. He put him in the stocks. He was angry with him. He oppressed his people. He did not seek the Lord. He did not seek. He did not go back flat on his face. We're in this time of the Hebrew month of Elul. It's all about teshuvah. It's all about turning back to God. It's all about turning away from the things that are not of God, even the things that are good, but they are not God, and turning towards God and looking straight into the burning, refining fire of his eyes. That is where we are. That is where we are. But in the church structures, in the religious man-made structures, the oppressed are becoming the oppressors. The ones who had to fight their way into freedom to experience the new of the Lord are becoming the ones who are putting up the fortified cities so that their people cannot move into the newer thing. There's always going to be a new thing. There's always going to be a new thing God is doing, because that's what God is about. He's about new. He's about this. He's about that. He's about taking us forward. He's not about camping in one space. And so if the new thing starts in your ministry, your church space, your community space, and then it spreads, you don't get to shut that down. It's not yours. It's not your move. It's God's move. You don't get to silence the prophets and silence the seers because you don't like what they are saying, because they are speaking truth. You do not get to become a prison guard. If God gave you the mandate, the assignment, the privilege, the honor of being a gatekeeper for a move of his, you do not get to become a prison guard. You do not get to become a prison guard. You do not get to put yourself over people and to tell people that they have to be under you. You do not get to do that. You do not get to do that. And so the verse I want to focus on, and the verse that I'm going to share a little bit more of in the rest of the week as God gives me permission to share the vision I had, is this: the eyes of the Lord. The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the earth. So the eyes of the Lord are running to and fro throughout the earth, right? That's what it says in Scripture. And still today, because God is yesterday, today, forever, the same God, doing the same thing, not the same thing as in not a new thing, but doing what God does. And his eyes are constantly running to and fro throughout the whole earth. Why? Why are his eyes running to and fro across the whole earth? To show himself strong. To show himself strong. Why does he want to show himself strong? on behalf of those whose hearts are blameless toward him. Can we go back to my favorite Psalm, Psalm 24? Can we go back to my favorite Psalm, Psalm 24? Who will ascend the mountain of the Lord? Who will climb the holy north face of God? But those with clean hands and a pure heart, those whose hearts are blameless toward him. Those who, just as one example, when people say, hey, God is calling me out of this into that, not because this is wrong, but just because this is my journey with the Lord. Those who are like, amen, brother, bless you, sister. Let us pray for you, let us bless you, let us release you, let us fling wide the gates and let you go and step into everything God has for you. Let us fling wide the gates. Because maybe for a period of your walk with the Lord, I have been given the privilege of being a gatekeeper and helping you and walking with you. But now God is clearly calling you into something new, something bigger, something else. And that's okay, because this is my mandate and assignment, and I'm walking in what God has called me to do. But for you, my precious brother or sister, I am going to fling wide the gates and I'm going to say, you go after what God has called you to. You go after the new thing. You go after the more. Fling wide the gates. Come on. That's what a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper, the definition of a gatekeeper is not somebody who keeps the gates closed and locked. The definition of a gatekeeper is somebody who knows when to close the gates and when to fling them wide open. Is somebody who knows we need to just close these gates because we need to just, we need to grow our people, to mature our people, to teach our people to, and then we know, okay, wow, our people have reached a season where we get to fling wide the gates, we get to let them go on, and we get to take in the new people that God is sending us and do the same thing with them, and then we fling wide the gates again, and they go. If you have a gatekeeper, and your gates are always only locked and closed, you do not have a gatekeeper, you have a prison guard. You do not have a gatekeeper, you have a prison guard. And God is saying, let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people experience me wherever I have called them to do so. This is not please. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. Please don't hear what I'm not saying, because I get accused all the time of teaching, or I get accused all the time of telling people or teaching people that to leave their churches. I get that accusation flung at me constantly. You're encouraging people to leave their churches. I'm not encouraging you to leave your church. I'm not encouraging you to leave your church. I'm encouraging you to step into the new thing God has for you. To step into the new thing God has for you, no matter the price, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice. Because if your church are true gatekeepers, when they see that you need to step into that new thing, they will fling wide the gates. They will fling wide the gates. But if they are a ministry or a church or a space where when you start to say things like, I feel God is calling me into this, I feel God is calling me, and they're like, oh no, oh no, no, oh no, no. Let's gather our friends together to stop you from moving on. They're not gatekeepers. They're not gatekeepers. They're not gatekeepers. We have, by God's grace and a sheer miracle, we have this church without walls. A church without walls where people can come and go, where people can be part of other churches, other ministries, other spaces. I'm fine with that. Where you can come and be a part of us for a while, and you can move on to what God has you do for a while, and you can come back for a while. Because I'm not going to gatekeep you. If I feel like, let me think of a really horrendous example. If you come to me and you say to me that you feel like God has called you to join the Moonies, You know, I don't even know if they exist anymore. That cult, the Moonies. If you come to me and you say, listen, Sally, I feel like God has called me to join the Moonies, then I'm going to be a little bit of a gatekeeper and just be like, you know what? I think we need to pray, and I think we need to talk about this with the Lord, because that doesn't sound right to me. If you come to me and you tell me that God has called you to do something that is in contradiction to the word of the Lord, I'm going to be a gatekeeper in that instance. Not for my benefit, for your benefit. For your benefit. If you come and you tell me God has given you a revelation that is contrary to his word, I'm going to say no. He won't do that. He won't do that. God doesn't contradict himself. But that is the only instance that I will say that. That is the only instance where I will gatekeep a little bit, trying to protect you from things that I can tell aren't God. But if you come and you tell me that God has called you to, I can't think of an example, I don't want to offend anybody, you know, that, and I know that it's not contrary to the word. You are somebody who can hear the God for yourself. You know, you hear the voice of the Lord. I'm happy to provide wise counsel. I will pray for you. I will love you. I will be there for you. But I'm going to fling open the gates and say, go, daughter, run, son, my beautiful rose. Can I give you an example? I need to end now because I've been going on for ages. But can I give you an example of my beautiful Rose, my spiritual mama? She is one who has allowed me to grow. That we were part of her ministry for quite a while. And when God called us on and we went and told her, it's not to say that she wasn't hurt. She wasn't hurt by us. It's not to say that her heart wasn't sore. Put it that way. Her heart was sore. We love each other. We love each other. But if I can tell you that the way Rose demonstrated releasing us, she said, this is all Rose's fault, she set up a false expectation of what it will always be like. Because she was so amazing about releasing us into the more that God had for us, that I just expected everybody to be like that, and nobody else has ever been like Rose. So yeah, I was sadly disappointed after that. But it's, you know, Rose was like, yes, you know, I'm heart sore. I love you. I love you. You are my children. And I would love for you to be in the space with me forever. But you know what? I don't get to gatekeep this. I get to fling wide the gates and say, run into what God has for you. And that's why we love each other desperately still today. Because of the way Rose held that relationship. No offense. No unforgiveness, no resentment, no oppression, no prison guard, just freedom. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. He or she who Christ sets free is free indeed. Don't let your gatekeeper become a prison guard. Don't. Okay, I'm going to go because I think I was on time this morning, hey? I think so. So I think I've now been going on for over an hour, but I bless you. I love you. You are amazing. And I'm not going to gatekeep you. I'm going to do what my spiritual mama taught me. And I'm going to fling wide the gates. And I'm going to be like, run. Run into the more of the Lord. Run. Don't walk. Run into the more of the Lord. Because God has so much for you. And you get to come and go. You get to come back and you get to leave. And you get to come back and you get to leave. Because we're not in a gang. I don't have to kill you if you leave. Please don't anybody take that little bit and put that on TikTok. Okay? I love you. I bless you. I've got to go. I will see you on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Your time, 6 a.m. My time, hopefully. Mwah. Bless you. Love you. Bye.